What's up? This is another galactic tea video, and instead of drinking tea or coffee, I'm going to get my makeup on so that I can record with the voices in hyperspace. Today we're going to do a overview of Star Trek Starfleet Academy. I did one at the very start when I watched the first two episodes, and now we finished them all. And we can talk about all of the episodes. Let's see. This is not a primer. I should use primer, but I'm not. This is actually a foundation that I irrationally bought that's way too light for my skin. So I'm just going to use it around my eye as like a concealer. That's way too light, yeah. Concealer, that's not concealer. Ha ha ha. Yeah. I'm going to blend it. I gotta blend it better. So I absolutely love Star Trek Starfleet Academy. It as a Star Trek fan for all of my life and former educator. I was an instructional assistant for 16 years. I was a substitute for 2 years. I worked in daycares with school age kids. Only time I went over middle school was with the low incidence students. Mostly sub middle school, and spent most of my career in preschool. And this being a college level kind of show is very different, but at the same time, the concepts of teaching and working with kids and them being kids was very relatable. I also have a child of my own, so I don't know if that helps. Let's see, should I do red today since we're doing Star Trek? And I might wear this shirt so it'll match. I never have like a signature look. I like doing something different every time. What I liked about it was what I love about Star Trek in general. Star Trek is meant to be progressive. It means to question the ideals that we need to be progressive about within the time that it's being written. I even went back to the original series and watched the first 7 episodes really, not the pilot though. It started with Kirk, and the first episode you have a woman, for lack of a better term, like it's an alien that's pretending to be a woman from Bones' past, and she's trying to get salt. Like she needs salt to live, and she's like dependent on the scientists and on the Federation to get the salt that she needs to survive. And she can take on any form that she needs to in order to get what she needs to survive in any way other than actually just having a way to directly get the salt. She has to use other people to get the salt, which kind of parallels the fact that in the 1960s was when women were first being able to get the right to own a credit card or a bank account. They had to have permission from a man to get a credit card or bank account. So the salt in this case is kind of parallel to the women having financial independence. Which, like, people look back at that and it's like, oh, it's a weird monster, blah, blah, blah. But you kind of have to know what the politics of the time was in order to get it. The politics of today better, and then they see it on Star Trek, and they get, like, in their feelings because they know what side they're on. They're probably on the opposite side. Jaden, the Klingon character, is a really good example of what that looks like. Because a lot of people are really mad that there's a gay Klingon. And I'm like, a lot of people are really mad that there are gay people. They're mad at the LGBTQ for not being what they expect them to be. And that parallels with Jaden, because Jaden is not being what they expect him to be. And it does very perfectly parallel, just like the salt monster, what's going on today. And so people are threatened by the idea of using these stories that we've loved, that they know people love, in order to show a perspective that's not theirs. And that's how I feel about it. There it is. I have so many eyeliners. Don't use them. I just used this. Got all these first. This is the last one I got, and I love it so much that like I could throw away this bag. Um, and this 24/7 link Urban Decay, I never got to work. I returned one, and then I got another one, and I just still never got to work. But I do like the brush, so I'm basically just using it as an eyeliner brush. One of the biggest things that I see in today's world is the difference in how we raise our children. And gentle parenting is being criticized a lot, at least from my perspective, I think, because you can't talk about this generation is blah 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 without talking about how they're being raised. And I think Ake is like an example of what gentle parenting is. Like her personality being like all sprawled out and chill and relaxed when it comes to like putting your foot down with these kids. It'll work out. I'm just going to give the kids the tools to learn on their own. And she does give them like repercussions for their actions when they do stuff wrong, but everyone's expecting her to be like all the other captains when none of the other captains were anything like each other. There is like the normal, like, I guess, posture, since it's her laying out with no shoes on. But like, she's not that type of captain, obviously. And every captain had to have their little separate thing that they did that they liked that was not like the other captains. Like, no one got mad at Cisco being the captain who would punch Q in the face. And he even says, I'm not Picard. Like, just introducing the idea that I'm not going to be like that. Picard introduces himself as not being anything like James, like Kirk. Like, Kirk is not cautious at all. And Picard is very cautious. And these are actually like more professional ways to look at how to be a Starfleet captain or a captain in general. But like, okay, it's not just a captain. She's a teacher, and she's a teacher of children who have just came out of an apocalypse. They're coming from homes that have not given them the space to grow, and her being sprawled out is kind of like also a representation of the growth that the kids can be that are there for. Like, if you're not willing to like be relaxed about what's going on around the students, they can pick up on that. Like, they pick up, and that's something I learned as a substitute teacher. If you come in there like the other teachers told me to, it's like, put your foot down, don't let them get away with anything, and never let them see you smile and all this other stuff. And I tried that, and it was miserable. Eventually, I was like, if I'm going to get through this, I need to be myself. I need to make me and the kids comfortable with being here all freaking day. I'm not going to get anything done if we're miserable. Like, I showed the kids a side of me that I was happy with, which meant mostly taking science and history classes. So me just like being able to geek out and enjoy talking about science and history, and the kids like being impressed that I actually know, because apparently the substitutes don't know anything when they come in to teach. I don't know, maybe it was just the schools that I worked in. The teachers didn't. The kids were surprised that I actually knew middle school science and history. But those days where I was just enjoying teaching, it was like, I'm going to make the lesson a priority over how I think you should act, how I think you should be. I'm not going to make a big deal out of how you sit in your seat over, you learning over the lesson, over the facts. Like, if you want to learn the facts while you lay back in your seat with your hoodie on, what's that got to do with anything? And that's what Ake reminds me of.